The Misdiagnosis, a sister's gossip, a viral misunderstanding, and a sci-fi path to healing trust. Lena's body ached, a sharp, electric pain that radiated across her side, like wires sparking under her skin. At 24, she was used to pushing through fatigue, long hours at her graphic design job, late nights sketching futuristic cities for her portfolio, but this was different. The rash on her torso, red and blistering, had appeared a week ago, and a low-grade fever kept her tossing in bed. Her older sister, Sarah, insisted on driving her to the doctor, a gesture Lena appreciated, though Sarah's protective streak could feel stifling. Their family home, a cozy suburban house outside Albany, was a temporary refuge while Lena recovered, but it was also a pressure cooker of family dynamics. The doctor's office was sterile, the air sharp with antiseptic. Dr. Patel, a harried man with glasses slipping down his nose, scanned Lena's rash with a handheld device, a sleek, sci-fi-like tool that hummed softly, its screen flashing data in neon blue. Lena watched, fascinated despite her discomfort, imagining it as a gadget from one of her sketches. Viral herpes, Dr. Patel said, his tone clipped, eyes on the screen. Likely stress-related. I'll prescribe antivirals. Rest, stay hydrated. Lena frowned, the term herpes jarring. What kind? Is it serious? Dr. Patel waved a hand, already typing notes. It's viral. You'll be fine in a week or two. Follow up if it worsens. Sarah, sitting in the corner, raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Lena felt a knot in her stomach. Dr. Patel's vagueness wasn't reassuring, but she trusted Sarah to ask questions if needed. They drove home in silence, Lena clutching the prescription bag, the pain in her side pulsing with each bump in the road. That evening, Lena retreated to her room, the familiar space of her childhood with its starship posters and cluttered desk. She popped the antiviral pills, hoping for relief, but the pain lingered, a reminder of her vulnerability. Downstairs, she heard laughter. Sarah, her second sister, Emily, and their partners, Mark and Jake, gathered for one of their fancy dinners. Lena's younger sister, Chloe, 18 and still living at home, had mentioned the dinners with an eye roll. They act like it's a gala every night. Lena tried to join them, but the pain kept her in bed, her phone buzzing with work emails she couldn't answer. She overheard snippets of conversation drifting up the stairs, Sarah's voice, low and urgent, saying herpes and doctor. Lena froze, her heart sinking. Sarah had told Mark? She'd never known Sarah to share private matters, especially medical ones. Lena assumed it was a slip, a moment of worry, but then Emily's voice chimed in, followed by Jake's loud chuckle. Herpes, huh? That's rough. Lena's face burned. She hadn't been physically close to anyone, her life was work, sketches, and the occasional coffee with friends. The assumption stung, a betrayal wrapped in casual gossip. She pulled the blankets over her head, the pain in her side now matched by a deeper ache. The next morning, Lena noticed a shift. Mark avoided her in the kitchen, stepping back when she reached for a mug. Emily's smile was tight, her eyes darting away. At dinner, Jake made a loud joke about keeping things clean, and Sarah laughed nervously, not meeting Lena's gaze. Chloe, sitting across the table, glared at them, her fork clattering. You were all being ridiculous, she snapped, her 18-year-old defiance sharper than Lena's exhaustion allowed. Lena retreated to her room, tears pricking her eyes. How had her sisters, her confidants, turned her pain into gossip? Days passed, the rash worsening, the nerve pain a constant hum. Lena returned to Dr. Patel, alone this time, demanding clarity. He scanned her again with the humming device, his brow furrowing. My apologies, he said. It's shingles, not herpes simplex. A reactivation of chickenpox virus. Common under stress. Same antivirals, but you'll need rest and pain management. Lena's relief was immediate, but it curdled into anger. Shingles wasn't sexually transmitted, it was a stress-induced flare-up, likely triggered by her recent work deadlines. She hadn't needed to endure her family's judgment. Back home, she confronted Sarah and Emily in the living room, Chloe hovering nearby, arms crossed. Why did you tell your partners? Lena demanded, her voice shaking. You thought I had an STD and gossiped about it? I'm sick, in pain, and you're laughing behind my back. Sarah's face flushed. I was worried, Lena. I told Mark because I thought it was serious. I didn't mean. You didn't mean to humiliate me? Lena cut in. You told Emily, who told Jake. Now they look at me like I'm contagious. It's shingles, Sarah. Not herpes. Shingles. Emily's eyes widened. We didn't know. We just talked. I'm sorry. Lena shook her head, tears falling. You were my sisters. I thought we had trust. Where's the sisterhood? Chloe stepped forward, her voice fierce. They were wrong, Lena. I heard them at dinner, acting like it was a soap opera. I'm so mad at them. Sarah reached out, but Lena stepped back. I need space, she said, retreating upstairs. She sketched a starship caught in a storm, its hull glowing with the same circuits as her medical device, fighting to break free. It was her, trapped but pushing forward. Over the next week, the shingles eased, the antivirals working. Sarah and Emily apologized again, their partners quieter, chastened. Lena accepted their words but kept her distance, her trust fractured. Chloe became her anchor, helping with meals, ranting about their sister's brainless married mode. Lena laughed, grateful for her little sister's loyalty. When Lena felt strong enough, she moved to a friend's apartment in the city, a temporary step to reclaim her independence. She packed her sketches, the medical devices glow inspiring a new project, a series of sci-fi designs for a health tech startup. As she left, she hugged Chloe tightly, whispering, "You are the real sister here." To Sarah and Emily, she offered a nod, not ready for more. In her new space, Lena hung a sketch, a starship soaring through clear skies, its glow steady. The betrayal hurt, but she was rebuilding, her strength a light that wouldn't dim. Lena woke to a searing pain along her left side, like a current of electricity crackling through her nerves. The shingles rash, a jagged map of red blisters stretching from her ribs to her lower back, pulsed with every heartbeat, a relentless reminder of her body's betrayal. At 24, she was used to pushing through deadlines, but this was different, a deep, gnawing ache that left her breathless. Her childhood bedroom in the family's suburban Albany home offered little comfort, its starship posters faded, the desk cluttered with sketch pads and half-finished designs of futuristic cities. The antiviral pills sat on her nightstand, next to a glass of water and a sleek, sci-fi-inspired medical scanner her doctor had given her to monitor the rash's progression, a palm-sized device with glowing blue circuits that hummed softly, like something from her sketches. The confrontation with her older sisters, Sarah and Emily, 2 days ago had left a different kind of pain. Lena had stood in the living room, her voice trembling as she called out their gossip, how Sarah had told her partner, Mark, about the doctor's vague viral herpes diagnosis, and how Emily had shared it with Jake, spinning it into a humiliating assumption of an STD. Their laughter at dinner, while Lena lay in bed with nerve pain and panic, had cut deep. Chloe, her 18-year-old sister, had been her only ally, her fierce defense a spark of hope in the haze of betrayal. Lena forced herself out of bed, wincing as her cotton shirt brushed the rash. She checked the scanner, its screen displaying a heat map of her skin, red zones where the blisters were worst, yellow where they were fading. Stable, it read, but stable felt far from healed. Downstairs, the kitchen was quiet, the scent of coffee lingering. Sarah was at the counter, slicing apples for a pie, her movements precise but tense. Emily sat at the table, scrolling on her phone, her engagement ring catching the morning light. Chloe was at school, her absence a small void. "Morning," Lena said, her voice cautious, testing the air. She poured tea, the mug's warmth soothing her hands. Sarah glanced up, her eyes softening but guarded. "How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a lightning bolt," Lena said, trying for humor but wincing as she sat. "The shingles are persistent." Emily set her phone down, her expression apologetic. "Lena, about the other day. We didn't mean to hurt you. I shouldn't have told Jake. I just got caught up." Lena's grip tightened on her mug. "Caught up? You both turned my illness into a joke. I've never been with anyone, Emily. You assumed the worst and spread it." Sarah set the knife down, her face flushing. "I was worried when Dr. Patel said herpes. I told Mark because I thought it was serious. I didn't know it was shingles." "You could have asked me," Lena said, her voice low but sharp. "Or the doctor. Instead, you talked behind my back while I was in pain, panicking because I thought something was wrong with me." The room fell silent, the weight of her words settling. Sarah's eyes glistened, but Lena wasn't ready to let it go. "I trusted you. Both of you. We're sisters. That's supposed to mean something." Emily stood, crossing her arms. "We are sorry, Lena. Really. We messed up. But you're shutting us out now, and that hurts, too." Lena's chest tightened. Shutting them out? She was the one betrayed, the one whose pain was mocked. Before she could respond, the front door opened, and Chloe burst in, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "I skipped last period," she said, catching Lena's eye. "You okay?" Lena managed a small smile. Getting there. Thanks, Chloe. Chloe glared at Sarah and Emily. You two need to stop acting like this is high school gossip. Lena's sick, and you made it worse. Sarah sighed, rubbing her temples. We know, Chloe. We're trying to fix it. Then act like sisters, Chloe snapped, dropping her bag and sitting next to Lena. She's been in bed, hurting, while you're having fancy dinners with your partners, laughing about something that's not even true. Lena reached for Chloe's hand, grateful for her fire. The scanner on the table hummed, its blue glow catching her eye. She picked it up, running her thumb over its circuits, grounding herself. I need time, she told Sarah and Emily. I want to forgive you, but it's hard when I can still hear Jake's stupid jokes in my head. Sarah nodded, her voice soft. We'll make it right. No more dinners, no more gossip. Just let us help. Over the next few days, the sisters tiptoed around each other. Sarah brought Lena ginger tea, her way of apologizing without words. Emily offered to watch a sci-fi movie, one of Lena's favorites, but Lena declined, needing space. Chloe was her constant, sneaking her snacks, ranting about their sister's married brain syndrome. Lena laughed, the sound easing her pain, and sketched with Chloe, a starship dodging asteroids, its hull glowing like the scanner, a symbol of navigating chaos. The shingles began to fade, the blisters crusting over, the nerve pain dulling to a hum. Lena checked the scanner daily, its data a lifeline to recovery. She emailed her boss, promising new designs soon, and sketched a futuristic medical device inspired by the scanner, its circuits pulsing with hope. One evening, Sarah and Emily sat her down, their partners absent. We told Mark and Jake the truth, Sarah said. They feel awful. We all do. Lena studied them, seeing sincerity but also the cracks in their bond. I need you to respect my privacy, she said. No more sharing my life with anyone else. They nodded, and Lena felt a cautious relief. The sisterhood wasn't gone, but it was fragile, a starship needing repair. With Chloe by her side, Lena knew she could rebuild, one careful line at a time. Lena lay in her childhood bedroom, the dim glow of a late July morning filtering through the curtains of her family's suburban Albany home. The shingles rash on her torso, a jagged constellation of red, crusting blisters from her ribs to her lower spine, still throbbed, though the electric nerve pain had dulled to a persistent hum, like a frayed wire sparking intermittently. Each movement tugged at the raw skin, the cotton of her loose t-shirt catching on the scabs, sending sharp reminders of her body's fragility. At 24, Lena was used to powering through long hours at her graphic design job, but shingles had grounded her, forcing her to confront not just physical pain but the deeper sting of her sister's betrayal. On her nightstand sat the sci-fi-inspired medical scanner Dr. Patel had given her, a sleek, palm-sized device with a matte black finish and glowing blue circuits etched into its surface, humming softly like a starship console from her sketches. Its screen displayed a heat map of her rash, red zones where the blisters were still angry, yellow where they were healing, and faint green patches signaling recovery. Progressing, it read, the word a small lifeline. Lena ran her thumb over the device, its futuristic design a stark contrast to the faded starship posters on her walls, relics of her teenage dreams of cosmic adventures. She'd always imagined herself soaring, not stuck in this room, nursing wounds both seen and unseen. Downstairs, the house was quiet, the usual clatter of Sarah and Emily's fancy dinners with their partners, Mark and Jake, absent since Lena's confrontation 3 days ago. She'd called out their gossip, how Sarah had misinterpreted Dr. Patel's vague viral herpes diagnosis as an STD and told Mark, who'd told Emily, who'd told Jake, turning Lena's illness into a humiliating spectacle. Their laughter at the dining table, while Lena lay in bed, feverish and panicking, had shattered her trust. She'd never been physically intimate with anyone, her life was sketches, deadlines, and quiet evenings with friends, yet their assumptions had painted her as something she wasn't. Chloe, her 18-year-old sister, had been her rock, her fierce defense a reminder that sisterhood could still exist. Lena eased out of bed, a sharp wince pulling at the taut skin of her rash. Every movement was a reminder, a dull throb beneath the surface. She reached for the small, handheld scanner, its cool plastic a familiar weight in her palm. The screen glowed, displaying a map of her skin, the yellow zones of healing spreading, a quiet testament that the antivirals, at least, were doing their job. She swallowed her morning dose, the bitter pill catching briefly in her throat, a tiny resistance against the path to recovery. Pulling on a soft, oversized hoodie, she drew the hood up, a flimsy shield against the world, against the scrutinizing eyes she imagined even in her own home. The mirror offered a stark reflection, dark circles beneath her eyes, auburn hair tangled from another night of restless, pain-interrupted sleep. She brushed it back, a small act of defiance, determined to face the day, whatever it might bring. In the kitchen, the scent of brewing coffee mingled with the faint sweetness of burnt sugar. Sarah, her blonde bob neatly pinned, moved with practiced ease, her apron dusted with flour from what appeared to be an early, perhaps ambitious, attempt at scones. At the kitchen table, Emily sat hunched over her phone, her dark curls falling loosely around her face as she scrolled, the diamond on her engagement ring glinting under the soft morning light. Their partners were conspicuously absent: Mark, Sarah's husband, already at work, and Jake, Emily's fiancé, visiting family out of town. It was a rare, almost unsettling moment of just the sisters. Chloe, the youngest, perched on a high stool at the counter, methodically eating cereal, her backpack already slung over a chair, a silent declaration of her readiness for her summer college prep course. "Morning," Lena offered, her voice steady, carefully modulated to betray none of the turmoil churning within her. She bypassed the coffee, opting instead for chamomile tea, the rising steam a small, welcome warmth against her raw nerves. Sarah turned from the stove, her hazel eyes hesitant, a flicker of apprehension in their depths. "Hey, Lena. How's the rash?" The question hung in the air, loaded with unspoken history. "Better," Lena replied, easing herself carefully onto a chair, the cushion offering a small, fleeting relief to her tender skin. "Scanner says it's healing. Still hurts, though." The admission was delivered flatly, a statement of fact, not an invitation for sympathy. Emily looked up from her phone, her expression shifting from absorbed to contrite. "Oh, we got you some aloe gel. Thought it might help." Her voice was soft, laced with a genuine desire to mend. Lena offered a curt nod, acknowledging the gesture. It was noted, certainly, but it was a small offering against the vast expanse of hurt that still stretched between them. "Thanks," she said, her tone meticulously neutral, giving away nothing. Across the table, Chloe caught her eye, a quick, knowing glance, raising an eyebrow as if to say, "They're trying, but they've got work to do." Lena nodded, the honesty a small step. "I need to know my life stays with us. Sisters first." Sarah met her eyes, her voice firm. "Sisters first." Emily joined them later, offering a photo album from their childhood, pictures of the three sisters building forts, Lena's starship drawings tucked between pages. "I found this," Emily said. "Remember when we were a team?" Lena traced a photo of them laughing, her heart aching but hopeful. "I want that back," she said. "But it takes time." By the week's end, Lena's rash was nearly gone, the scanner showing mostly green. She resumed work, emailing designs to her boss, her sketches infused with the scanner's futuristic aesthetic, a series of health tech interfaces, glowing and sleek. She decided to move to a friend's apartment in the city, a step toward independence. Packing her room, she hung a new sketch, a starship orbiting a calm planet, its hull aglow, Chloe's initials etched in the corner. At the door, Lena hugged Chloe tightly. "You kept me grounded," she whispered. To Sarah and Emily, she offered a tentative embrace. "We're not fixed, but we're trying. That's enough for now." Driving away, the scanner in her bag, Lena felt the weight lift. The betrayal had scarred her, but she was rewiring her trust, one connection at a time, with Chloe's loyalty and her own resilience as her guide. Lena sat on the edge of her childhood bed in the Albany suburban home, the late July light casting soft shadows across her starship posters. The shingles rash on her torso, once a fiery map of blisters, had faded to faint, scabby patches, the nerve pain now a dull ache, like a distant echo. At 24, Lena felt her strength returning, the antiviral pills and rest finally winning. On her nightstand, the sci-fi medical scanner hummed, its blue circuits glowing, its screen showing green zones of healed skin. The device, a sleek gift from Dr. Patel, had been her anchor, its futuristic design inspiring sketches of starships soaring through clear skies. The betrayal of her older sisters, Sarah and Emily, still stung. Their gossip, misinterpreting viral herpes as an STD and sharing it with their partners, Mark and Jake, had turned Lena's illness into a humiliating spectacle. She'd confronted them, her voice raw with hurt, and leaned on her 18-year-old sister, Chloe, whose fierce loyalty had been a lifeline. Now, a week later, Lena was ready to move forward. Downstairs, Sarah and Emily waited in the kitchen, their usual fancy dinners on hold. Sarah offered a mug of chamomile tea, her eyes apologetic. "Lena, we're trying. No more gossip. We told Mark and Jake it was shingles. They're sorry." Lena nodded, the scanner's hum steadying her. I need time. You broke my trust, assuming the worst. I'm not there yet. Emily slid a photo album across the table, childhood pictures of the sisters building forts. We want that back, she said softly. Chloe, home from her college prep course, squeezed Lena's hand. They messed up, but you've got me. Lena smiled, her heart lighter. She packed her sketch pads, the scanner tucked in her bag, and moved to a friend's city apartment, a step toward independence. Her latest design, a health tech interface inspired by the scanner, landed her a freelance contract, enough to cover rent. She hugged Chloe tightly, whispering, "Sisters first." To Sarah and Emily, she offered a nod, a fragile bridge. Driving away, the scanner glowing in her bag, Lena sketched in her mind, a starship breaking free of clouds, its circuits alight. The betrayal had scarred her, but with Chloe's support and her own resilience, she was charting a new course, one clear signal at a time.